Ahoy hoy, friends and enemies, and yes, Sonic the Comic issue 100 video is still in production, it's still being made, I still gotta wait for things to fall into place in order to finish it. I swear it's happening. But until then, here's a bit of a lost episode. You see, back in 1991 to 1993, before Sonic the Comic, there were two yearbooks, the 1991 yearbook and the 1992 yearbook. And those contain the earliest Sonic comics ever to release in the United Kingdom. Not just that, they were also drawn and written by people who would later be on Sonic the Comic. And while, canon is a very loose and flimsy and malleable term, some people do consider these to be like the prequel to the Sonic the Comics. So here's a bit of a lost episode. I'm gonna load up this VHS tape I found in the corner of the room labeled Sonic the Comic Lost Episode and show it to you, my beautiful watchers. So enjoy Sonic the Comic, Issue 0. The official Sonic the Hedgehog yearbook. Ooh, you get to win a Mega CD if you enter a free competition. Now, the scan of the comic that I'm using isn't exactly very good, so some pages may be a bit blurrier. The first one is Cartoon Concerto. We get to see Sonic the Hedgehog running through the Marble Zone on planet Mobius, full of all of its fiery volcanoes and whatnot. For any other ordinary person, it would be a death sentence, but easy peasy for Sonic the Hedgehog. Elsewhere, the evil Dr. Robotnik sits in his lair. He has a weird laugh. He keeps going, yok, 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 yok. That's a weird-ass laugh. But he's watching cartoons, one with a mouse being chased by a cat, and eventually crushing said cat with his own contraptions. This is just Looney Tunes-ass stuff, isn't it? Dr. Robotnik loves his cartoons, and it's given him an extremely good idea. He's basically going to completely lift the ideas from the cartoons to get Sonic the Hedgehog. He actually looks like a strange mix between the classic game appearance and also the later Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog appearance. Dr. Robotnik has begun painting a tunnel on the side of a wall, hoping that it will expedite the expiry of that poor excuse for a hedge pig. And he will be exultant. How many puns can you fit into this video? Also, this is definitely where the scan of the comic gets a bit wibbly. In comes Sonic to save his friends from Robotnik and their badniks. He smashes them to free the woodland critters within, and then runs through the tunnel. Hey, wait you ultramarine menace! You can't do that, it's not a real tunnel! Poof! And Robotnik hits the... Hang on a second, he called him an ultramarine. I smell heresy.
Abandon reason! No, only war!
I don't know what egg pun he's making this time because he hurt his nose and now can't do the... New plan, he has decided to paint his own phony gold rings. He leaves them hanging in the air. Somehow, how were they suspended in air? They're metal. And he pulls out a big-ass magnet. An egg-o-magnet. That isn't even a pun. Sonic picks them up and notices that these rings are a little heavier than usual, and the magnet is coming for him. However, it's on the move and runs over Robotnik. Next up in the lava-filled bit of the marble garden, he puts glue everywhere. Oh, Robotnik is so evil, even he doesn't like him. Maybe Dr. Robotnik is just really depressed. Anyway, Sonic runs through the glue goo. But because he's moving so fast, it doesn't even have a moment to stick to him. It does, however, stick to Dr. Robotnik, who then burns in the volcano. If he never sees another cartoon, it'll be too soon. Next up is a Sonic interview in the yearbook. I'll not read it, but it does come up with something interesting. Apparently, Sonic was an orphan, which doesn't contradict his depiction in Sonic the Comic, so it could be canon. That's pretty cool. Pretty neat. There's a Sonic balloon, and screenshots from assorted video games. Next up, Speed Demons. It's the Spring Yard Zone, and Sonic uses his patented Super Spin Attack. Elsewhere, Dr. Robotnik is now building his Eggmobile. What? It's the Turbo Boost? But it's the Eggmobile. He's Eggman. He's supposed to have egg puns. Also, he looks more like the game version in this, unlike in the previous one. But it's supposed to be egg-related. Oh well, it'll let him be faster than Sonic, and so he can You do an egg pun for exterminate, but not for the Eggmobile. A whole page of Sonic doing Sonic-y things, and then being chased by the Turbo Boost of the Dublin O-Boosts. Sonic says that it sounds like a washing powder. Dr. Robotnik may be faster right now, but he sure as hell ain't smarter. Sonic manages to get under the Turbo Boost in order to hide into a blind spot, and then Robotnik hits the speed from fast to reckless to psychotic. However, Sonic can still run rings around Robotnik, and he means that very literally. He runs rings and it creates a tornado, which then dizzies him up. Robotnik now brings on the real speed and goes over the counter, which makes him go so fast, he's off the edge of the page. Wowza. Next up, a few more pictures, apparently, of Sonic with some celebrities. And this costume looks so dorky. So dorky. I have no idea who any of these celebrities are. I think that one's a Chuckle Brother, that one might be Izzard, and, I don't know, my old school head teacher. There's a Shinobi comic that I don't cover. And at the end, Double Sonic. And I'm getting a flashback. Deja vu, or jamais vu. Anyway, Sonic is just chilling, having some refreshments, talking with us, the audience, and then goes for a run. He hasn't seen any of his friends about, so he sees a badnik, smashes it, and then the bird says, Robotnik's got a whole heap of us imprisoned in a metal tank at the edge of the zone. Short run-in with a crumbling cliff, and landing on a spring platform, blowing up a buzz bomber, and Sonic finally gets to the metal tank where his friends are imprisoned. He touches it, but explodes, for it was booby-trapped. It wasn't real, and now Robotnik comes in with the swinging ball and chain. But Tails to the rescue! Actually, if this was the 1991 or 1992 yearbook, I think this might actually predate Tails' first game appearance, so it might actually be promotional. How cool is that? Anyway, Sonic is totally stoked, and in the corner there's a little thing saying what totally stoked means. They run into a cave so Sonic can build a thing. Then he comes back out to lure in Robotnik's attention, calling him slow, again with the thing saying lagging. Hey, is that where lag comes from, as in game lag? Guess it is. Once Sonic is out of Robotnik's sight, he is now just standing there, menacingly. Robotnik brings out the old ball and chain, and I don't mean his wife, onto Sonic, and he smashes to pieces. But apparently a cardboard cutout. Cardboard doesn't shatter, that has to be wood. But anyway, Sonic bounces on the thing up and down a few times and explodes the little Turbo Boost. They find a shed where all the woodland creatures are in. Sonic disassembles it with a second of the wind, and the thing ends. Now we move on to number 2, the 1992 yearbook. Now Robotnik has been changed into his Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog attire-ish, with pinhead thing. He's doing a little home cooking project, and some bunny that spots it spies on him and goes to tell Sonic about whatever it is. It's time to spring into action, but the moment Sonic stands on it, he's going nowhere. He's glued on. A new special instant glue, probably learning from the previous glue disaster. And now that Sonic can't move, he's about to be squished. So Sonic sends Tails off to go get him his spare speed sneakers. Once Tails comes back, Sonic's got a flail. Leave. And he jumps out of his sneakers and into the new pair, so we are spared having to see Sonic's feet. There's a lot of fan art about that already. But Robotnik wasn't looking where he was going and drove off a cliff. Into another spring. Sonic grabs some rings but misses one. Tails goes back for that one ring, but then the bouncing car comes back and is about to make the two-tailed thing extinct. But then Sonic saved him, and he just bounced off the ground. And into a tree, and finally into the glue-making factory. Where's the ejection seat? And Robotnik is stuck in glue. Next up is a 2-page long thing called Tails' Tale. He's decided to be the hero of his own story, so he decided, let's go gambling. Puts in some rings and hopes to get some out. If first you don't succeed, try it again. Spinning jackpot. Sonic, Sonic, and Sonic. It's a Sonic story after all. More pictures of celebrities with Sonic. This costume doesn't look as dorky as the last one, which is disappointing. I love the dorkanized one. Next up, Dr. Robotnik's new plan. He's going to send Sonic the Hedgehog into space. You know, the one place not corrupted by capitalism. Sonic is ambushed by badniks, like usual, but he falls into a pit. The old hole in the ground covered with leaves trick. But it's not a swimming pool, it's some sort of molten plastic, and other than the fact that molten plastic should be scalding his face off, it has just hardened and has left Sonic completely stuck. Now Sonic goes to extricate Sonic and expel him from Mobius. Plopped in the rocket, Sonic then wobbles over to the heating system and sets it to max. With the plastic starting to melt, can he escape before blast-off? Possibly, but the rocket has begun to ignite. Hey, where'd this string come from? It's tied to Robotnik's leg, and the ship takes off with him in tow. I assume the rocket fuel melts the string, which causes Robotnik to fall to the ground. Sonic got out and tied Robotnik to the rocket. Robotnik foiled again with his face planted onto a seesaw. Last comic of the yearbooks, Big Trouble. Completely text-free, going through the aquatic ruin zone. And then, a big badnik. So big that spinning into it does nothing. Seems that Robotnik decided to make this guy extra large. And soon all the badniks will become extra large. So we can conquer Mobius. Another box saying jammin', we must leave. It's a good thing, otherwise it would have been completely lost with all of this 1990s lingo. Sonic and Tails decide to get the high ground, and Geronimo dive right into the badnik, causing it to explode, releasing 3 different animals. Stop, hammer time. The turbo boost has a massive mallet. To dodge the massive mallet, Sonic and Tails dive into the water, where there's a big shark badnik. But for some reason, Sonic can swim, even though in pretty much all other medias, Sonic can't swim and often tends to sink to the bottom. Sonic and Tails split up after Robotnik hits the water, which leads to him on a collision course with the shark, and it explodes. So much for big badniks. See you later, bye! And that's the end of the comic. Thank you for watching this issue 0. See you around next time, folks!